The city of Atlanta woke up to whispers that felt more like shockwaves. Rumors of betrayal, heartbreak, and revenge started flooding every corner of social media. And at the center of it all were three familiar names: Yandy Smith, Mendeecees Harris, and Tamar Braxton. What began as a harmless night out has now spiraled into one of the most talked about scandals in the entertainment world. Reports claim Tamar Braxton was hospitalized after a heated confrontation that allegedly followed her rumored late-night connection with Yandy's longtime partner, Mendeecees. But here's the catch. No one knows what really happened. Was it just gossip? A publicity stunt gone wrong? Or did emotions finally explode behind closed doors? Fans are calling it Yandy's revenge. Others say it's a twisted misunderstanding born from fame, jealousy, and fragile egos. Eyewitnesses speak of shouting, flashing lights, and an ambulance pulling up outside a luxury Atlanta neighborhood. The police have yet to confirm anything. But that hasn't stopped the internet from piecing together every blurry clip, every cryptic post, every look exchanged between Tamar and Mendeecees just days before it all went down. As the story unfolds, one thing is clear. This isn't just drama. It's chaos disguised as love. It all started with a single video clip that spread through social media like wildfire. A short, shaky recording that seemed to capture the aftermath of an argument outside a private lounge in downtown Atlanta. In the dim streetlight, voices could be heard, tense, emotional, almost desperate. Some fans swore they heard Tamar Braxton's voice crying out. Others claimed Mendeecees was trying to calm her down. No one could say for sure what happened that night, but by morning, the hashtags were everywhere. Hashtag Tamar and Mendeecees, hashtag YanDYS, revenge, hashtag hookup drama. The internet didn't sleep. Every blog, every gossip page, and every podcast had one question: what really went down between these three? Just days before the incident, Tamar had been seen at a music industry mixer. She looked radiant, smiling for the cameras, posting playful selfies, even sharing a live video that included a familiar face in the background: Mendeecees. It wasn't clear if they arrived together, but people noticed the chemistry. The laughter, the quiet whispers, the way he leaned in when she spoke. Fans caught it instantly and began speculating if something more than friendship was brewing. Tamar, always outspoken and charismatic, brushed it off online, saying, "It's just business. Y'all love to twist a good moment?" But Yandy's followers were not convinced. They flooded her comment section asking, "Are you seeing what we're seeing?" Yandy, usually calm and collected, posted a cryptic story the next morning. A simple black background with the words, "When loyalty becomes optional, respect disappears." No names, no explanation, but everyone knew who it was about. Within hours, blogs were dissecting every word. Some insiders claimed Yandy had confronted Mendeecees privately after noticing his recent absence at family events. Others whispered that Tamar and Mendeecees had been working on a charity project. That somehow turned into late-night meetings and secret dinners. At first, Mendeecees stayed silent. He didn't respond to the rumors, didn't post, didn't appear in public. That silence only fueled the fire. Then, a week later, a blurry photo surfaced of him and Tamar leaving what looked like a private dinner. They weren't holding hands, but their body language was too familiar, too comfortable. The photo hit the blogs like a bombshell. Tamar's fans defended her, saying she was misunderstood, while Yandy's supporters called her a victim of betrayal. The entertainment world divided itself overnight, with podcasts hosting heated debates about love, loyalty, and the blurred lines between friendship and flirtation in the celebrity world. Behind the scenes, people close to Tamar say she was deeply affected by the growing tension. One friend told a local outlet Tamar didn't want any of this. She's been through a lot, and she just wanted peace. She thought she was helping someone she respected. But the situation was already spiraling. According to multiple sources, Yandy and Mendeecees had a heated argument at home, one that left both in tears. Yandy allegedly accused him of disrespecting her publicly, of humiliating her after everything they had built together. Mendeecees reportedly tried to explain that Tamar was just a friend, that people were twisting the story. But Yandy wasn't buying it. Her pride, her image, her trust, all of it felt shattered. Meanwhile, Tamar was facing her own emotional storm. She had been through public breakups before, but this one felt different. The pressure, the judgment, the endless headlines calling her the other woman took a toll. She stopped posting for a few days, something her fans noticed immediately. Her last tweet before going silent simply read, "You think you know pain until you really feel it." That single sentence sent fans into a frenzy. Was she heartbroken? Was she reacting to Yandy's cryptic post? Or was she struggling with something deeper? Then came the night everything changed. Eyewitnesses say Tamar was spotted at a private gathering in Atlanta. She appeared emotional, teary-eyed, and surrounded by a small circle of friends. Around midnight, things reportedly escalated when someone mentioned Yandy's name. A heated exchange followed, though the exact details remain unclear. Some claim Tamar received a message or call that triggered her breakdown. Others believed Mendeecees showed up unexpectedly. Within an hour, police and paramedics were seen outside the property, and Tamar was taken to the hospital for what was described as emotional distress. News outlets ran wild with headlines, each more dramatic than the last. Tamar Braxton hospitalized after shocking confrontation, one wrote. Another said, Yandy and Mendeecees drama turns tragic. But none of them had the full story, only fragments, voices, and speculation. What's undeniable, though, is that the situation had reached a breaking point. Yandy's name was trending, her brand endorsements were being questioned, and fans demanded answers. Tamar's team issued a brief statement saying she was recovering and needed privacy. But the damage had already been done. In the days that followed, conflicting narratives emerged. Some insiders claimed Yandy had finally confronted Tamar directly through a mutual friend, saying she felt betrayed as a woman, not just as a partner. Others say she broke down privately, telling her inner circle she didn't want revenge, only the truth. But fans noticed how quickly her tone shifted online, from cryptic sadness to a quiet but fierce confidence. One post read, "Sometimes silence is the loudest clapback." That single sentence reignited the fire. People started calling it Yandy's revenge, though there was no proof she had done anything beyond protecting her peace. Still, the whispers grew louder. Some claimed Yandy had leaked certain texts to a gossip blog. Others insisted it was someone from Mendeecees' circle. And through it all, Tamar remained silent, her family expressing concern but refusing to comment publicly. Her sister Tawanda posted a prayer emoji with the caption, "God sees everything," which only made things worse online, even as Tamar's health improved. The emotional scars were visible. She canceled appearances, postponed recordings, and avoided interviews. But the story didn't fade. If anything, it grew darker. Fans wanted answers, not rumors. They wanted to know if the friendship between Yandy and Tamar could ever be repaired, or if Mendeecees was now the reason two powerful women had turned into rivals. And somewhere in that storm of opinions, lies and half-truths, the truth was buried, waiting to surface at the worst possible moment. Days after Tamar's hospitalization, the industry felt eerily quiet, like everyone was waiting for the next move. Yandy had gone completely silent online, which for her was unusual. No brand posts, no family videos, nothing. The kind of silence that makes people wonder if something big is coming. Fans noticed she unfollowed both Tamar and Mendeecees on social media. That tiny action sent shockwaves. Comment sections filled instantly. "This is her confirmation," one wrote. Another said, "She's cutting them both off." Classic Yandy move. But no one expected what was about to happen next, according to a few people close to the situation. Yandy wasn't sitting at home crying. She was planning her next step. She had always been smart, strategic, and fiercely protective of her image. Behind the scenes, she reportedly started making calls to PR teams, lawyers, even producers from her show. She wanted control of the narrative. If people were going to talk about her, she'd make sure her side was the loudest. But this wasn't about revenge, at least not in the way fans imagined. It was about reclaiming power in a story that had turned her into a headline she didn't deserve. Meanwhile, Tamar was still recovering. Those close to her said she felt betrayed. But not just by Mendeecees, by the way the world had twisted her situation. In one emotional phone call, she reportedly told a friend, "I can't even breathe without someone turning it into a scandal." Her team urged her to rest. But Tamar, known for her, and then out of nowhere, a video surfaced. It wasn't new, but it hadn't been seen publicly before. It showed Yandy, Mendeecees, and Tamar together at a charity event weeks earlier. They looked close, laughing, talking with Yandy, occasionally glancing at Tamar in a way that fans later called the look of a woman who knows something's not right. Blogs reposted the clip endlessly, slowing it down, zooming in, analyzing body language like detectives. The internet turned into a courtroom, and every fan became a judge. Mendeecees finally broke his silence during a brief encounter with paparazzi outside a restaurant. When asked if the rumors were true, he said, "People believe what they want. I got nothing but love for everybody involved. I just hope everyone heals." His calm tone didn't help, it only fueled the speculation. Some fans thought he was guilty by avoiding direct denial. Others believed he was trying to de-escalate the chaos. But Yandy's absence in the days that followed made it clear something was still brewing. Late one night, Yandy finally returned to social media with a video that stopped everyone mid-scroll. Sitting in her living room, no makeup, just raw emotion, she said. "When you give someone your loyalty and they treat it like it's optional, that's when you remember who you are." Her voice cracked slightly, but she held her composure. She didn't name names, didn't call anyone out, but the message was clear. "I'm not perfect," she continued, "but I don't play with love, and I don't play with loyalty. I'm choosing peace, even if it means letting go." Within hours, her video hit 1 million views. The comments poured in support, sympathy, and of course, curiosity. Tamar's camp, however, didn't appreciate the tone. A close friend of hers told a podcast that Tamar felt targeted by Yandy's words, that she thought the video painted her as the villain. The back and forth continued, quietly but intensely. Every post, every like, every unfollow became a statement. Fans began taking sides like it was a televised feud. Some defended Yandy's right to express her pain. Others accused her of playing victim for sympathy. Amid all this, Mendeecees tried to stay out of the spotlight. But when he appeared at an event alone, wearing a visibly tense expression, the questions started again. A reporter asked if he and Yandy were still together. He paused for a moment, then said, "We're working through it." "That's all I'll say." That single line sent fans into meltdown. Working through it, did that mean she was forgiving him? Or was it just a polite way of admitting things were broken? Behind the camera flashes and headlines, people who knew the couple said the situation had deeply affected them both. One insider revealed that Yandy hadn't been eating properly, and Mendeecees had moved into a separate apartment to give her space. Still, they communicated mostly through texts, mostly about the kids. But everyone sensed the distance. The love that once looked unshakable now seemed fragile. Almost gone. Tamar, on the other hand, had retreated into her own world. Her family rallied around her, with her sister Tony reportedly visiting her in private. Tamar had always been strong, but this incident reopened old wounds, past heartbreaks, betrayals, and insecurities she thought she had buried. She told a friend, "I'm tired of being the headline. I just want to be happy." As the days went by, news sources popped up everywhere, each telling a slightly different version of the story. Some claimed Tamar was planning to issue a tell-all interview, while others hinted she might sue certain blogs for defamation. Meanwhile, Yandy began posting photos of herself surrounded by friends and family, smiling again, though fans noticed her eyes told a different story. Then came the twist no one expected. A leaked voice note allegedly between two reality TV producers hinted that the entire drama might have been played up for attention, that some scenes, some interactions might have been amplified for cameras. The leak spread like wildfire. Was this entire feud exaggerated? Were the emotional breakdowns and heartbreaks part of a bigger PR game? No one could confirm, but fans were torn. Some felt deceived, others said it didn't matter, it was still great television in the midst of all the noise. Yandy posted one more cryptic story, a black screen with the words, "Karma doesn't miss." It was short, direct, and impossible to ignore. Tamar didn't respond publicly, but insiders say she saw it, took a deep breath, and decided to step away from social media entirely. Her team quietly announced she'd be focusing on her health and family for a while. But that didn't stop the public from talking. By now, the story had evolved into something bigger than just a rumored hookup. It was about betrayal, perception, and the way fame can twist even the smallest misunderstandings into global scandals. The once friendly faces were now part of a narrative none of them could fully control. And as everyone tried to move on, one question still lingered in every fan's mind: who was really telling the truth? Even as the social media storm continued, Atlanta felt like it was caught in a whirlwind of gossip and speculation. Every tweet, every Instagram story, every blurry paparazzi photo was dissected like evidence in a courtroom. Fans were relentless, piecing together timelines, comparing outfits, and analyzing body language. The city's nightlife had turned into a stage, and everyone wanted a front row seat. Rumors claimed that Yandy had been spotted leaving a late-night dinner earlier that week looking visibly upset. Some said she had been meeting with a close friend to vent about the situation. Others whispered that she was scouting locations for a potential confrontation. The uncertainty only heightened the suspense. Tamar, meanwhile, was slowly emerging from the hospital. Her face showed signs of exhaustion, but her spirit, as always, was unyielding. Friends described her as determined and angry, but composed. One insider revealed that Tamar's first words to her family after returning home were, "I will not let them write my story for me." It was a clear message. She intended to reclaim her narrative no matter the emotional cost. Social media users caught wind of this statement. And hashtags like #TAMA are strong and #Justice for TAMAR began trending. The tension between Yandy and Tamar escalated subtly but unmistakably. Fans noticed minor interactions on platforms that seemed harmless on the surface. A like here, unfollow there. A cryptic story that disappeared within an hour. Each digital gesture was scrutinized, interpreted, and magnified. One blog even suggested that Tamar's silence was a strategic move to bait Yandy into making the first public statement. The speculation only made the feud more intense, with viewers arguing over which side was truly in the right. Meanwhile, Mendeecees seemed caught in the middle, a silent figure navigating the storm around him. Some sources suggested he felt trapped, unsure how to support either woman without further complicating matters. Yet other insiders claimed he had contributed to the escalating drama by sending ambiguous messages or making public comments that fans read as passive-aggressive. One small Instagram story where he simply raised a glass with no caption was enough to ignite fresh waves of speculation. Family dynamics added another layer to the drama. Tamar's relatives, particularly her sister Tawanda, were reportedly frustrated with the constant media attention. Tawanda was seen at private gatherings, visibly tense, occasionally making calls to friends and insiders to clarify details about Tamar's condition. Meanwhile, Yandy's extended family was split. Some defended her actions, others urged caution, fearing the backlash could damage her career permanently. These private disagreements occasionally leaked to the public, fueling even more debate among fans. On the ground, eyewitness accounts painted a chaotic picture. One neighbor claimed to see a black SUV circling Tamar's block late one night, sparking rumors that Yandy might be observing her movements. Another witness reported hearing shouting, though it was unclear who was involved. Bloggers, always hungry for fresh content, interpreted these fragments as evidence of escalating conflict. Videos, screenshots, and blurry photos were shared endlessly, sometimes accompanied by dramatic captions implying confrontation, revenge, or secret alliances. Amid this frenzy, Tamar's team attempted to regain control. Snippets of studio sessions and behind-the-scenes clips were released online, portraying Tamar as resilient, creative, and focused on her craft. Yet every new post was analyzed for hidden messages, with fans claiming to detect subtle references to Yandy Mendeecees or the recent scandal. Even casual words in a caption were read as a coded statement. For instance, one post where Tamar wrote, "Rising above the noise" became a rallying cry for supporters who believed she had been wronged. Yandy in parallel, carefully curated her public persona. She posted images of her family, serene vacations, and motivational quotes, each intended to convey composure and strength. Yet, the subtle tension in her eyes, observed by sharp-eyed fans, was enough to spark fresh rumors. Some insisted she was hiding anger. Others said she was strategically choosing silence to let Tamar appear guilty. This digital chess game continued, with each move dissected, discussed, and debated. Suddenly, a new twist emerged. A leaked audio clip allegedly captured a heated conversation between Tamar and a friend discussing the night of the incident. In the recording, voices could be heard expressing fear, frustration, and betrayal. Fans debated its authenticity endlessly. Some claimed it validated claims of Yandy's alleged involvement, while others argued it was Tamar herself dramatizing events for attention. The uncertainty only intensified the online arguments, creating factions of supporters and detractors for both women. Meanwhile, Mendeecees tried to maintain distance. He made brief appearances at charity events and industry gatherings but avoided commentary. Still, every gesture, smile, or frown was interpreted through the lens of the scandal. One source claimed he was receiving counsel from advisors on how to navigate the growing tension without further inflaming the situation. Yet fans weren't convinced of his neutrality, interpreting inaction as tacit acknowledgement of the drama. As the days turned into weeks, the narrative grew increasingly complicated. Blogs began publishing theories connecting past interactions, minor social media gestures, and unrelated events to the feud. Fans created elaborate timelines connecting screenshots, comments, and posts to form cohesive stories of betrayal and revenge. The frenzy spread internationally, with viewers outside of Atlanta weighing in, offering their opinions, and even creating memes that distilled the scandal into digestible, viral content. At one point, Tamar's publicist attempted to issue a clarifying statement, emphasizing that Tamar was focusing on her health and family, and that speculation about conflicts or attacks was unfounded. The statement, however, had little effect. Fans had already woven a narrative in which each person played a distinct role. Yandy as the avenger, Tamar as the victim, and Mendeecees as the bystander or unwitting instigator. The lines between truth, perception, and rumor blurred entirely, leaving the public with a story that felt real, no matter how unverified it was. In the background, insiders whispered about the potential impact on careers. Sponsors, brand partners, and networks were monitoring reactions closely. Some reportedly paused collaborations with Tamar to avoid association with the controversy, while Yandy faced intense scrutiny from foundations and business ventures linked to her. The professional stakes mirrored the personal drama, creating pressure that few could escape. As the situation evolved, social media continued to dominate the conversation. Each new post, comment, or story was a potential headline. Fans eagerly dissected subtle cues, a smile here, a lingering look there, searching for clues. Speculation ran rampant about whether Tamar would reconcile with Mendeecees, or whether Yandy would publicly address the allegations, and whether either woman would take legal action. The suspense felt endless, feeding the narrative cycle with fresh energy each day. And yet, despite all the chaos, a sense of inevitability hung in the air. Viewers and fans were captivated by the ongoing story, unable to look away. Every new rumor, every snippet of information, every ambiguous gesture contributed to a larger drama that seemed far from resolution. The city, the industry, and the internet itself had become part of a living, breathing reality show in which the stakes were both personal and public, emotional and professional. The weeks that followed were marked by a tense calm. Though beneath the surface, the storm was far from over. Tamar had returned to her home, attempting to regain normalcy, but the shadows of that night lingered. She spent long hours in her studio trying to channel her emotions into music. Friends described her as focused but restless, constantly checking social media, reading comments and bracing herself for the next wave of speculation. Every notification could be a new rumor, a fresh accusation, or a distorted interpretation of something she said or did. The pressure was relentless. Yandy, meanwhile, maintained a composed public image. She shared family moments, inspirational quotes, and occasional workout clips, all carefully curated to convey strength. Yet fans were quick to analyze her every move. Some argued she was masking frustration. Others claimed she was sending subtle messages to Tamar and Mendeecees. The tension between perception and reality became a daily conversation online. Fans debated whether her silence was strategic patience or a sign of suppressed anger. The internet was flooded with theories. One particularly persistent narrative suggested that Tamar had been planning a comeback performance, using the incident as inspiration for new music. Insiders hinted at a possible single that directly addressed betrayal, though no confirmation came. Yandy supporters claimed the new project was opportunistic, while Tamar's fans defended her right to transform personal pain into art. The discourse divided communities, creating a virtual battleground of opinions. Sources close to Mendeecees reported that he felt trapped in the middle of a narrative spiraling beyond anyone's control. Though he had attempted to remain neutral, his association with both women made him a central figure in the unfolding drama. He made a few low-profile appearances at industry events. Always cautious, always measured, but even small gestures were dissected online. A simple smile at a friend became a viral talking point, with thousands interpreting his expression as guilt, regret, or silent judgment. Family dynamics continued to complicate matters. Tamar's sister Tawanda reportedly counseled her privately, advising patience and caution. Tamar's mother expressed concern over the emotional toll, urging her daughter to focus on healing. Yandy's family, split in opinion, experienced their own pressures. Some relatives encouraged her to assert herself publicly. Others advised caution, warning that any misstep could have lasting consequences. These private deliberations occasionally leaked, adding layers to the public's understanding or misunderstanding of the situation. Rumors about a potential confrontation grew. Fans speculated endlessly about whether Yandy and Tamar would finally meet face-to-face. Would they reconcile, or would tensions erupt into public conflict? Social media analysts pieced together travel schedules, sightings, and cryptic posts, constructing elaborate timelines that suggested an imminent showdown. Yet, in reality, both women were carefully navigating the aftermath, aware that any public altercation could magnify the scandal and have long-term repercussions for their personal and professional lives. Then, a new development shook the fanbase. A video clip surfaced, allegedly showing Tamar leaving a private location with a close friend, visibly upset but composed. The footage was grainy, taken from a distance, but blogs and social media users immediately spun theories. Some suggested she was avoiding Yandy. Others claimed she had been meeting with Mendeecees to discuss reconciliation or resolution. The ambiguity fueled debate, creating a cycle in which every minor action was scrutinized for hidden meaning. Yandy, for her part, maintained an almost stoic presence online. She occasionally shared images of her children, subtle inspirational quotes, and behind the scenes, glimpses of work commitments. Fans interpreted every detail, creating speculation about whether she was sending coded messages, expressing silent frustration, or signaling that she had moved on emotionally. Even small gestures, like changing profile pictures or posting a song lyric, were magnified and analyzed in forums, podcasts, and comment threads. The emotional toll on Tamar was evident. Insiders reported that she struggled with trust issues, heightened anxiety, and a sense of vulnerability. Friends and collaborators noted that she was more guarded in public appearances and interactions. Yet, despite the emotional strain, she continued to engage with fans selectively. sharing glimpses of her music and personal reflections. Each post was a balancing act, a way to assert control over her narrative while managing the scrutiny that followed. Men. Deces remained the understated figure in the drama. He avoided public statements, interviews, or social media posts that could be interpreted as commentary. However, his presence loomed large in the story. Analysts speculated about his motivations, alliances, and potential actions. Even subtle interactions, such as appearing with friends or attending industry events, were viewed through the lens of the ongoing feud. Every gesture had implications. And the public's fascination with the love triangle only intensified as weeks turned into months. The story evolved into a broader cultural conversation about loyalty, perception, and the intersection of personal and public life. Social media commentators dissected every statement, analyzing what was said, what was implied, and what remained unsaid. Fans continued to create elaborate timelines, memes, and discussions, often blending fact, speculation, and fantasy. The narrative had grown beyond the individuals involved, becoming a phenomenon that reflected wider societal interests in drama, celebrity and storytelling.